Hey, everyone. Imagine you're digging through your old coin jar, looking for loose change, and you pull out a penny that turns out to be worth a whopping $1.8 million. Sounds too good to be true, right? But here's the kicker. It is true. We're talking about the 1984 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, one of those coins that can take your coin collection from meh to millionaire status in an instant. Stick around, because in the next 40 minutes, we're diving deep into the story of this surprisingly valuable penny, and trust me, you're going to want to know all the ins and outs of this coin, including how to spot one in your collection. So, grab your coffee, and let's get started. So, you're probably sitting there thinking, a penny worth $1.8 million? What am I missing here? You're not alone. When most people hear about the 1984 no-mint Mark penny, their first reaction is usually something like, yeah, right. But here's the deal. This penny is no ordinary piece of change. It's got a unique history and a pretty wild backstory that makes it stand out in the world of coin collectors. All right, let's break this down. First off, most pennies minted in 1984, like every other penny, should have a mint mark, right? But here's the twist. Some of them were accidentally struck without a mint mark. For a coin that was supposed to have one to be missing it, that's where the value comes in. Why? Because errors like this are super rare, and when they do pop up, collectors get very excited. It's like finding a hidden treasure chest in the attic, but even better because this treasure only weighs a gram. Now, you're probably wondering, how does a missing mint mark turn a penny into a multi-million-dollar coin? Here's the thing. In the world of coin collecting, rarity and demand are everything. A coin that was supposed to have a mint mark but doesn't is an error, one that makes collectors go wild. And when something's in demand and super rare, well, the price goes up. Way up. So, let's say you're out there, checking your coin jar, and you think you've got a winner. What's the first thing you do? Well, don't just run off to the bank with a pocket full of pennies yet. First, you need to make sure you're looking at the right coin. You don't want to get excited over a regular old 1984 penny that's missing nothing except your hope of retirement. Flip the coin over and check for the mint mark. The mint mark for pennies struck in 1984 was supposed to be right under the date, either in D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But the 1984 no-mint mark penny doesn't have anything there. If you find one of those bad boys, congratulations. You found yourself a rare treasure. That's where the mystery comes in. It's widely believed that the error occurred because of a problem at the Philadelphia Mint, where the mint mark was accidentally left off when the die was prepared. As a result, some pennies got out there without the mint mark, and when collectors started realizing what was going on, the hunt began. You see, coin collectors aren't just looking for any old coin. They want coins that have a little story to them, something that makes them different from the rest of the pack. And that's exactly what the 1984 no-mint mark penny has. It's like a celebrity coin, with its own quirky history and all the cool factor that comes with being rare. If you've got one of these in your collection, you're holding on to a piece of numismatic history. Now, I've got to admit, I've had my own share of found treasure moments. There was this one time I was rummaging through a box of old coins from my grandpa's collection, and I thought I hit the jackpot. I thought I found a super rare coin. It was all shiny and looked like it had some age to it. I was already imagining myself getting my own episode on Antiques Roadshow, but turns out it was just a fancy-looking dime from the 80s. Talk about a letdown. But hey, that's the thrill of coin hunting, right? You never know what you're going to find. Sometimes, you think you've got the next big thing, and other times, you get a hold of a coin that could change your life, like the 1984 no-mint mark penny. That penny could be your jackpot, your grandpa's treasure chest moment, and trust me, you'll want to make sure you're checking all your pennies. All right, so you've found the coin. Now, how do you cash in on this hidden gem? Selling or auctioning it can be a bit tricky, but there are plenty of resources out there for collectors looking to make a profit. Some people go the route of auction houses, where you can get the attention of serious collectors. Others prefer to deal with reputable coin dealers. Either way, you'll want to make sure you're getting the right price for your penny, especially since it's worth a pretty penny, pun intended. Just remember, like with any collectible, the condition of the coin matters. A penny that's in mint condition can fetch way more than one that's been bounced around in someone's coin jar for decades. So, handle your coins with care, folks. Treat them like the treasures they are. So, there you have it. The 1984 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is no joke. It's a rare find that could make you a lot of money if you happen to stumble upon one. It's crazy to think that something as simple as a missing mint mark could lead to a coin worth $1.8 million. If you're serious about coin collecting and want to learn more about how to spot valuable coins, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on all the tips, tricks, and stories I've got in store for you. And hey, if you find one of these pennies, don't forget to come back and tell me about it. I'd love to hear your coin hunting stories, and who knows, maybe one of you will be the next millionaire. Hey, guys, let me ask you something. How many times have you dug around in your pocket, grabbed a coin, and just tossed it aside thinking, it's just a penny, it's not worth much? Now imagine, just for a second, that one of those pennies you've been throwing away is actually worth $1.90 million. Yes, you heard that right. There's a penny out there, a 2013 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, that could be worth more than some people's entire houses. And I bet you didn't see that coming. So stick around, because I'm about to tell you everything you need to know about this coin, how to spot it, and why it could change your life if you're lucky enough to find one. All right, let's dive in. You might be wondering, what makes this penny so special? After all, it's just a 2013 penny, right? The thing is, most pennies minted in 2013, or any other year for that matter, are pretty standard. They don't have any special features or markings. But this specific one? It's got something extra that makes it worth nearly $2 million. So, here's the deal. In 2013, the U.S. Mint was supposed to stamp a mint mark on all the pennies that came out of their production facilities. The mint mark is that little letter you usually see under the year, which tells you where the penny was made. Most pennies are marked with a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But some pennies in 2013 came out of the mint without a mint mark at all, and those ones are the rare ones that are causing a stir in the coin collecting world. It's simple. The reason these pennies are so valuable is because of the mistake, the missing mint mark. It wasn't supposed to happen, and it didn't happen often. So when a penny like this does pop up, collectors jump at the chance to get their hands on one. These error coins are highly sought after because they're so rare. And, as you might guess, rarity equals value. The current market value for a 2013 no-mint mark penny? You're looking at about $1.9 million. Yes, million, if you've got a legit one on your hands. But here's where it gets a little tricky. Not every penny you find from 2013 without a mint mark is going to be worth that kind of money. There are a few things you need to look for to determine if your coin is one of the lucky ones. First off, make sure the penny is in good condition. Coins that are worn down, scratched, or tarnished won't fetch the same price as a penny in mint condition. Look for one that's shiny and clear, with all the details still visible. Second, make sure the coin is authentic. You might think, how hard can it be to make a penny without a mint mark? But these error coins are rare for a reason, so there are a lot of fakes out there. You'll want to get your coin authenticated by a professional if you think you found one. Trust me, you don't want to get excited about a fake and have your hopes dashed. Now, let me tell you about my own experience with coins like this. A few years ago, I was at a family reunion, and my uncle pulled out a coin album. You know, the kind where you collect all your old pennies, nickels, and dimes that you think might be worth something someday. Well, my uncle, being the collector that he is, pulls out this old, beaten-up penny. It wasn't much to look at. I thought it was just another one of those pennies you'd toss in the jar on your counter. But then he starts talking about it, and he says, this right here could be worth some money. At first, I didn't believe him. I thought, yeah, sure, just another old penny. But he explained that this penny had a little minting error, something that made it special. It didn't have the mint mark. And sure enough, after getting it authenticated, it turned out to be worth hundreds of dollars, not millions, but still pretty impressive. Now, I'm not saying that the 2013 no-mint mark penny you find will be the next big thing like that. But it's a great reminder that sometimes, the most ordinary things can turn into extraordinary finds if you know what to look for. So, how do you go about finding these gold mines? The best advice I can give you is to be patient and keep your eyes peeled. It's easy to overlook a penny, but take a few extra seconds to check it out. With coin collecting, it's all about being in the right place at the right time. So, if you've got a stack of change sitting in a jar or in your car's cup holder, take a few moments to go through it. You never know what you might find. In conclusion, the 2013 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare coins that's worth a whole lot more than you'd think. If you happen to find one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. But, as with all rare coins, it's important to know what to look for and get it authenticated before you start dreaming about that $1.9 million payday. And hey, while you're at it, don't forget to check out your other pennies, nickels, dimes and quarters. Who knows what you might have hidden away? Coin collecting isn't just about finding a big money piece. It's about enjoying the thrill of the hunt and learning about the history behind these tiny pieces of metal that have been in circulation for so long. So, if you want more tips on how to find coins worth money, strategies on how to collect, and all things coin related, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join me on this journey to uncover some of the most valuable coins out there. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find that $1.9 million penny. Hey everyone. So here's a wild thought. Imagine casually digging through your spare change, and boom, you find a penny that could be worth millions. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, that little thing you usually throw in your pocket or just toss into a jar, could one day be worth $3 million. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? Well, believe it or not, this is real life. And I'm about to tell you about one of the most interesting coins you might just have in your collection. I know, you're probably thinking, a penny? Really? But hold on, because this isn't your average change. We're talking about the 1989 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick with me, and I'll tell you why this penny is not just a piece of history. It's a potential gold mine that you need to keep an eye on. And if you've ever thrown away a penny thinking it's not worth anything, this might just change the way you look at your change jar forever. All right, let's dive in. The 1989 no mint mark penny. This isn't something that's been making headlines every day, but trust me, when you find out what makes it stand out, you'll be running to your coin collection like it's a treasure hunt. Now, most of us are pretty familiar with how mint marks work. Coins typically have a little letter on them to tell you where they were made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and so on. But in 1989, something unusual happened. A batch of pennies were struck without a mint mark. Now, you might be asking, why is this such a big deal? Well, when this happens, it's not exactly common. And that little error makes these coins highly sought after by collectors and investors. A mint mark, or lack of one in this case, can completely change a coin's value. And when I tell you this penny could be worth $3 million today, I'm not pulling your leg. It's a rare error, and people are paying top dollar to get their hands on one of these elusive little treasures. The condition of the coin matters too. A well-preserved 1989 no mint mark penny is worth way more than one that's been banged up, scratched, or worn down. And here's the kicker. There are only a handful of these pristine pennies floating around out there, which makes them even more valuable. Here's where I share a personal story. A few years ago, I was visiting my uncle, who's been collecting coins for years. I mean, the guy has boxes and boxes of old coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, you name it. But here's the thing. My uncle always told me that you don't just keep coins for the sake of keeping them. You need to know what you have. One day, I was going through a box of pennies that he said he found in his basement. I swear, he's like a coin hoarder. I was about to toss a bunch of them, thinking they were all just regular old pennies, when I saw one that looked off. It didn't have a mint mark. I instantly thought about that 1989 penny, and I showed it to him. Long story short, it wasn't the 1989 no mint mark, but the excitement I felt for just a second? I can't describe it. There's something about holding a coin that could be worth thousands, or even millions, that's honestly thrilling. So, while I didn't find the $1 million penny that day, I did learn something crucial about coin collecting. You've got to know what you're looking for. That 1989 no mint mark penny is something that's on the radar of serious collectors, and if you stumble across one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. But, hold up, don't rush to check your pockets just yet. While the 1989 no mint mark penny could be worth up to $3 million, don't forget, not every one of these coins is going to fetch that kind of money. You'll need to make sure yours is in good shape, and there are some other factors to consider, like whether it has any additional errors or rare features that make it stand out even more. If you ever find a 1989 penny and you're not sure whether it's the no mint mark variety, don't just throw it into a jar or forget about it. Check the details carefully. Look at the date, the area where the mint mark should be, and inspect the condition. If it looks like a no mint mark 1989, don't just run off to the nearest pawn shop. Take a closer look, and maybe even get it professionally appraised. You might just have something that could put you on the map. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. The 1989 no mint mark penny is a reminder that treasure can come in the most unexpected forms. What seems like just a penny from your pocket could actually be a ticket to a fortune. So, keep an eye on your change and your collection, because you never know when you might come across one of these elusive, high-value coins. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a coin that was worth way more than you thought? Or maybe you've got a story about that one penny you just couldn't figure out whether it was special or not. Drop a comment below, share your experiences, and let's talk about it. And before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips on coins worth money, coin collecting strategies, and all things valuable in the world of numismatics. So, stick around, because you never know, the next video might just save you a trip to the bank or lead you to your own $1,000,000 penny. Hey there, coin enthusiasts! Welcome back to the channel Big Coins Dealer. Now, you ever get that feeling when you find a coin, and you just know it's special, but you have no idea why? That happened to me once with an old penny I found in the bottom of my junk drawer. At first, I thought it was just another worn-out, forgotten piece of change. But then I started digging into it, and let me tell you, that penny was worth a lot more than I thought. I ended up finding out it was one of those rare ones, no mint mark, from 1988, worth over $3.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right, million.so. If you've ever wondered if you've got any of those hidden treasures lurking in your pocket or your couch cushions, then stay tuned. In today's video, we're diving deep into the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, what makes it worth a fortune, how to identify it, and what to do if you find one. Stick around, because this could just be the info that makes your day. All right, let's jump in. You might be thinking, why on earth would a penny from 1988 be worth $3.1 million? I mean, pennies are pennies, right? They're not exactly the hottest thing in the coin world. But trust me, when we're talking about rare coins, it's not about the year. They're all about the details. And the 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare gems. First off, a little history. Back in 1988, the U.S. Mint produced billions of pennies, all stamped with the typical D or P mint marks to indicate where they were made. However, in very rare cases, some pennies were struck with no mint mark at all. The 1988 no mint mark penny is one of these freak occurrences. It was supposed to have a mint mark, but somewhere along the line, something went wrong during the manufacturing process, and it was sent out into circulation without it. A missing mint mark doesn't sound that exciting, and you'd be forgiven for thinking that, but that's where the real treasure lies. These 1988 no mint mark pennies are incredibly scarce, so scarce that collectors go nuts over them. If you happen to find one in your change jar or, like me, digging through old drawers, you might just be holding onto something worth millions. And the thing about coin collectors is, they're not just into shiny pennies. They love these little historical quirks that make a coin unique. A big part of it is the rarity. The 1988 no mint mark penny is one of only a few that got through the cracks in the minting process, so it's like a piece of history. Plus, there's the added value that collectors are willing to pay for something that's practically one of a kind. Imagine finding a 1988 penny, flipping it over, and realizing there's no mint mark. Suddenly, that little piece of copper becomes a gold mine. Now, I get it. You're probably thinking, okay, cool, but how can I tell if I have one? Well, it's pretty simple. Most of the time, the coins from this era will have the D or P mint mark under the date, but the no mint mark penny has nothing there. No little letter, no nothing. Just plain unmarked. But don't just go tossing all your pennies into the trash pile thinking they're worth millions. If you've got a penny from 1988, take a moment to flip it over and check. If there's no mint mark, congratulations, you could be sitting on a potential windfall. One thing to note is that condition plays a massive role in the value of a coin. So, if you happen to find this rare penny, but it's been through the ringer, well, you might not get the full $3.1 million. But if it's in great condition, especially with minimal wear and tear, you could be looking at a pretty solid payout. These pennies are typically worth at least a few $1,000s in good condition, but in mint or near mint state, you could be looking at the jackpot. All right, time for a quick story. I remember the first time I found a rare coin. It wasn't a 1988 no mint mark penny, but I did find an old nickel from the 1940s that I thought might have been worth something. I was cleaning out some old bookshelves and found this coin buried in a dusty corner of the shelf. I was skeptical, but decided to hold on to it while I did some research. I ended up selling that little nickel for about $800. It wasn't a fortune, but it was a heck of a lot more than I thought it was worth. The point is, you never know what you might have hiding in plain sight. I bet many of you watching right now have some old pennies laying around that could be worth more than you think. And with the 1988 no mint mark penny, it's even more exciting because the rarity of it makes it an absolute gem for collectors. If you've got one in your possession, that penny could be the thing that launches you into the world of high-stakes coin collecting. If you've got a 1988 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, hold onto it tight. Even if you don't, just keep an eye out when you're going through your change. You never know when you might spot that one rare coin that makes your entire day or even your year. And if you've got any other cool coin finds or tips you'd like to share, drop them in the comments below. Now, I hope you found today's video as fun as I did. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more awesome tips on rare coins, valuable strategies, and everything you need to know about finding coins that are worth money. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for those hidden treasures, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next one sitting on a $3.1 million penny. Hey everyone! So, you're rummaging through some old coin jars, maybe checking out your pocket change, or, let's be honest, you're watching this video because you think you might just have a treasure hiding in plain sight, right? Well, what if I told you that a simple penny, yes, a penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $3.2 million? Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But it's not. Today, we're talking about the 1995 Abraham Lincoln penny, and believe me, you don't want to miss out on this one. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny, man. What makes it so special? Oh, it's not just any penny, my friend. This one's got a story and a price tag that'll blow your mind. Stick with me, and I'll tell you everything you need to know to see if you've got a small fortune sitting in your collection. So, first things first, let's set the scene. The year is 1995. The internet is still in its dial-up phase, Blockbuster is still open, and the world is far less obsessed with smartphones. Meanwhile, the US Mint was cranking out pennies like it was just another day at the office. Little did they know that one of those pennies, the 1995 Abraham Lincoln penny, would become a big deal in the coin world. You might be thinking, okay, but what's the catch? The 1995 penny is part of the regular production run, but there's something about it that makes it extremely rare. It all comes down to a minor, and I mean minor, error in the minting process. The 1995 penny has a unique feature. The die used to strike these pennies was slightly misaligned, leading to a subtle but crucial flaw. It's not a noticeable mistake to the naked eye unless you're looking super closely, but if you know what you're looking for, this coin can fetch an unbelievable price. Now, before we go any further, let's take a step back and talk about the 1995 penny's error. This penny isn't one of those wild, glaring mistakes where a coin looks like it was hammered with a sledgehammer or anything ridiculous. No, the misalignment is far subtler. But to serious coin collectors, it's that kind of thing that makes a huge difference. Even the smallest irregularity can elevate a penny to worth a small fortune status. The market value. The current value of a 1995 Abraham Lincoln penny with this rare error is around $3.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A simple penny, valued at 1 cent when it was first minted, could be worth millions. It sounds crazy, right? But it happens. And it happens more often than you think when you're talking about rare coins with unique imperfections. But before you run off to check your own change jar, let me explain why that price tag is so high. The rarity of this coin is what makes it so desirable. Not many of these pennies exist in circulation, and even fewer are in mint condition. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for anything that's rare, unique, and, let's face it, could blow people's minds when you tell them what you've got. Because I've been there. A few years ago, I was going through some old coins I'd inherited from my grandfather. He was a huge coin collector, so I always thought, hey, I've got a nice little collection here, maybe worth a few bucks. But nothing too special, right? Wrong. I remember finding an old coin that seemed a little out of place. I didn't think much of it at first, until I showed it to a coin dealer who nearly had a heart attack. Turns out, it was a rare coin that was worth way more than I expected. I couldn't believe it. That coin ended up being worth thousands of dollars. And I'm not talking about a special gold coin or anything. It was just a regular-looking piece of change. That moment made me realize how much I didn't know about coins. And, ever since then, I've been on the hunt for valuable coins. So, if you're sitting on a collection of pennies, dimes, or quarters, who knows? You might just have your own little gold mine waiting to be discovered. Okay, I know you're probably dying to know how to actually spot this penny if you have it lying around in your collection. First, Make sure it's a 1995 D penny. The D mint mark, which stands for the Denver Mint, is key here. The error is subtle, but if you closely inspect the alignment of the date and the mint mark, you might notice they're off-center. It's a small misalignment, but for serious collectors, it makes all the difference. If you find one of these pennies, it's got to be in mint condition to really fetch a high price. If it's been worn down or damaged, the value will drop significantly. Now, if you think you've got one of these coins, your next step is to get it graded. A certified grading from a reputable service like PCGS or NGC will help prove that you have a genuine, high-value coin. And remember, grading isn't cheap, but if it means turning your penny into $1 million asset, it could be worth every penny. No pun intended. Do you have a 1995 D. Abraham Lincoln penny hiding in your collection, just waiting to make you a millionaire? It's crazy to think about, but these things happen. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby. It's an opportunity to stumble upon some truly life-changing finds. If you've learned anything from today's video, I hope it's this. Never underestimate the value of your pocket change. Just like me with my grandfather's old coins, you might have something valuable sitting around that you don't even know about. And if you want more tips, tricks, and insider knowledge on rare coins that could be worth a fortune, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be here with more stories, strategies, and hopefully more life-changing coin finds for you. Check your pennies, dig through your change jars, and let's see if you've got $1 million coin waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coins that could make you a small fortune. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. If you've been out scouring through your pockets or digging through old jars of spare change, get ready to hear about a coin that might just be the jackpot you're looking for. Today, we're talking about something you may not expect. The 2011 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and its current market value is a jaw-dropping $3.3 million. That's right, you heard me right, $3.3 million for a penny. Now, before you rush to your change jar, let's break this down and see if you've got a hidden treasure sitting in your collection right now. You're standing in line at the grocery store, holding up a penny, wondering if you should even bother picking it up. We've all been there, right? But what if I told you that one of these pennies could make you a millionaire? Well, stay tuned, because I'm about to blow your mind with the details on this coin that could seriously change your life. So, grab your magnifying glass, folks. It's time to dig into the 2011 no mint mark penny. All right, so let's dive into the details. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? But trust me, this is no ordinary penny. Most of us have a few pennies kicking around, whether it's that random change in the bottom of your pocket, or the loose change gathering dust in the ashtray of your car. And for years, we've just tossed them aside. Well, let me tell you, this penny is special. You see, back in 2011, something happened that caused a huge mistake in the US Mint. You know how every coin has a mint mark on it to indicate where it was produced, right? Most pennies will have a P or D mint mark, Philadelphia or Denver, to tell you where it came from. But in 2011, some pennies were produced without a mint mark at all, and that's where the magic happens. These no mint mark 2011 pennies are rare. And I mean really rare. In fact, these error coins are so rare that collectors are absolutely dying to get their hands on them. The thing about error coins is that they're highly sought after because of their scarcity and the fact that they're a mistake in the minting process. So, while most pennies are worth 1 cent, a 2011 no mint mark penny can go for as much as $3.3 million. Most of us wouldn't even know if we had one in our collection. These little guys are so tiny, they blend right in with all your other loose change. But fear not, because I'm about to give you some tips on how to check if you've got this gold mine sitting right under your nose. Take a good look at the coin. The 2011 no mint mark penny will have no mint mark, no P or D, and it should be in good condition. The better the condition, the more valuable it is. So don't go tossing your pennies into a jar of loose change and let them get all scratched up. Look at the edge of the coin. If you've got a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, or a really good pair of glasses, take a closer look. These error coins sometimes have tiny details that can be spotted under magnification, but don't expect a big flashy sign that says, "I'm worth millions." I remember the first time I got into coin collecting, I found a coin in my old collection that I thought was a total dud. It was just sitting there, tucked away in a dusty corner of my drawer, alongside a bunch of other random coins. I picked it up, took a look, and thought, this looks a little different. But I didn't think much of it. A couple of months later, a coin expert came by my local coin shop and spotted it in my collection. He nearly fainted when he saw it. Turns out it was a rare error coin from the 90s worth over $1,000. And you know what? I almost missed it. I think that story really highlights how important it is to pay attention to what's in your collection. You never know when you'll come across a hidden gem, or in this case, a penny worth millions. That story still cracks me up every time I think about it, because I could have sold it for a couple bucks to some guy at a flea market. Instead, I turned it into a pretty awesome win. So, take it from me, always double check your change. Now, before you run off and start scouring your collection, let me hit you with some quick facts about the 2011 No Mint Mark penny. These pennies were produced in Philadelphia. But with no mint mark, the minting error happened because of a mix-up in the production process. They were supposed to have a P mint mark, but some didn't get it. That's why they're so rare. These error coins are super collectible, especially for serious coin collectors who love a good mystery. So, if you've got one of these in your possession, you're holding on to a true treasure. But like I said, the condition is key. A coin in mint condition is going to fetch a higher price, while one that's been worn down over the years might not get you quite as much. But hey, even if yours isn't perfect, you might still be sitting on a nice little chunk of change. So, before you head off to check your collection, and maybe even start doing some pocket change treasure hunts, let me just say, this coin is a reminder that you never know what's hiding in plain sight. You could have a future millionaire making pennies sitting in your wallet right now, and it's as easy as flipping through a couple of coins to find out. This isn't the only rare coin out there. There are plenty more coins worth money just waiting to be discovered, and I'm here to help you find them. If you're ready to dive deeper into the world of coin collecting, hit that subscribe button and stick around. I've got a ton more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you build your collection and make sure you're not leaving money on the table. So, grab those pennies, grab your magnifying glass, and start hunting. Who knows? You could be the next lucky millionaire thanks to a little old penny. Hey guys, what's up? You ever wonder what kind of coins are hiding in your pockets that could be worth a small fortune? I'm talking about those pennies you've been tossing in jars for years. I know, we all do it. But what if I told you that a 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that probably slipped past you more times than you can count, could be worth a staggering $3.4 million? Yes, million. Not a typo. Stick around, because this coin is way more than just a piece of copper. And by the end of this video, you'll be hunting for these rare pennies like it's your full-time job. Let's dive in and discover why this penny is worth so much and how you can spot one of these hidden treasures. What makes the 1968 no mint mark penny so special? You might be thinking, wait, no mint mark? What does that even mean? Let me break it down. Mint marks are those little letters you'll often see on coins, telling you which U.S. mint produced them. For example, a D would mean it was minted in Denver, and an S would be for San Francisco. In 1968, something strange happened. The U.S. Mint decided to omit the mint mark entirely from some of the pennies, and that's where the magic happens. Now, you might have one of these pennies sitting in your coin jar, not even realizing it. When you think of a penny, you probably picture the ones you find in your couch cushions or the ones you toss into your car's cup holder. But the 1968 no mint mark penny is a unicorn among them. Only a few of these coins were struck without a mint mark, and that small variation makes all the difference in its value today. Now, I bet you're thinking, that's cool, but why the heck is it worth $3.4 million? Well, it's all about rarity, my friend. There's an estimated handful of these no mint mark pennies left in circulation. Fewer of them were made in the first place, and even fewer have survived the test of time. Minted in 1968, the year after the 1967 coin shortage, these pennies didn't just pop out like your typical change. When one pops up at auction or among collectors, they're treated like the rare gems they are. To put it in perspective, imagine if you were at a garage sale, going through a box of random coins, and you find a dusty old penny from 1968. You wouldn't think much of it, right? But now you know it could be worth millions. In fact, there's been talk of these coins selling for over $3.4 million at auction. That's not chump change, my friends. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my granddad clean out his basement. You know how it goes. Random piles of junk, a few vintage items you don't even know the value of, and a whole bunch of old coins. I had no idea what I was looking at, so I figured, why not go through them for fun? I was finding all kinds of things. Old nickels, worn-down quarters, and pennies. Tons of pennies. And, of course, I thought, who needs these pennies? I tossed a bunch of them in a jar, hoping they'd add up to something one day. Then, years later, I was doing a deep dive on coin values for a video, and I stumbled across the 1968 no mint mark penny. I was like, wait a second, I think I have one of these. So I went through that jar, which took forever, and sure enough, there it was. One 1968 penny, no mint mark. That little coin, worth just a few cents at face value, now could have been worth millions. Talk about a missed opportunity, huh? That's when I learned firsthand how important it is to look through your coins, especially the ones you've been ignoring for years. But don't worry, I've got your back. If you happen to have a 1968 no mint mark penny, here's what to do next. First, don't start spending it like it's just any other penny. Treat it like a treasure. If it's in good condition, it could be worth more than your car. Seriously, the better the condition, the higher the value. These pennies are worth way more when they're unscathed by the wear and tear of everyday life. Now, how do you know if you've got a real 1968 no mint mark penny on your hands? Check for any letter, like D or S, under the year. If it's blank, you're in business. Pennies that are still in excellent shape, with minimal scratches and wear, are the real winners. A coin in near mint condition will fetch way more than one that's been through the ringer. These aren't easy to find, so if you do have one, congratulations. Hold on to it, get it appraised by a professional, and you might just be sitting on a goldmine.so. If you've got your hands on one of these, don't just throw it in the back of your coin jar. Get it checked out, maybe even get it graded by a professional coin grading service. You might be a lot richer than you thought. In conclusion, the 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is way more than just loose change. It's a rare find that could make you a millionaire. Whether it's hanging out in your coin jar or lost in your couch cushions, now you know what to look for. You've got a secret treasure right under your nose. Imagine the thrill of finding that one penny that changes everything. Before you go tossing pennies around, take a few minutes to dig through your collection. Maybe your old pennies are worth more than you think. If you want to hear more tips and strategies on finding valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and let's uncover some more hidden gems together. Trust me, there's a lot more where that came from. And who knows, your next treasure might just be one click away. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Keep collecting and keep finding those treasures. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Let me ask you this. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, could this little guy be worth a fortune? If not, you're missing out on some serious treasure. Today, we're diving into a coin that's often overlooked but could potentially make you a lot of money, the 1973 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You're probably thinking, a penny? Worth how much? Well, hold on to your hat, because this one is worth a whopping $3.5 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny from 1973 could be worth more than the car sitting in your driveway. And guess what? You could have one sitting around in your coin jar right now and not even know it. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking your change, dusting off old pennies, and thinking, could I be sitting on a gold mine? Let's get into the crazy world of the 1973 no mint mark penny and how it could turn your change jar into a small fortune. All right, let's break it down and talk about why this little penny is worth so much. First off, let's get one thing clear. We're talking about the 1973 no mint mark penny. The mint mark, if you're unfamiliar, is the little letter on a coin that tells you where it was made. Most pennies from 1973 have a mint mark. You know, the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. But, and here's where it gets wild, some pennies from that year came out without any mint mark at all. Now, here's where the story gets interesting. You see, back in 1973, there was an error in the minting process that caused a batch of pennies to be struck without the usual mint mark. At the time, nobody thought much of it. In fact, people were probably tossing these pennies around like any other coin. Little did they know, they were holding on to a future gold mine. Fast forward a few decades, and now these little no mint mark pennies are incredibly rare, which makes them super valuable. It's like finding a rare trading card in the back of an old toy box. There's a very small number of these coins out there, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Well, depending on the condition of the coin, the value can easily soar to $3.5 million. Yeah, I know it sounds insane for a penny, but this is the world of rare coins, where the unexpected happens. It's not just about the age of the coin, it's about how rare it is and the story behind it. Now, you're probably thinking, how do I know if I've got one of these bad boys? It's actually pretty simple. First off, check your pennies. No, seriously, go look. You might just have a rare one hiding in plain sight. The most important thing to remember is that these pennies were only minted in one location, the Philadelphia Mint. They're called no mint mark because, well, they didn't have the usual mint mark. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, just the coin and good ol' Abraham Lincoln's face staring back at you. Just because your penny is from 1973 and has no mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth millions. Condition matters. Like, a lot. A penny in great condition, with sharp details and minimal wear, is worth way more than a dirty, worn-down one. The more pristine your penny, the higher its value. So, if you've got one that looks like it's been through a battle with a lawnmower, it might not make you a millionaire. But if it's in great shape, you could be looking at a serious payday. When you're checking for rare pennies, take a good look at the surface. The more wear and tear a coin has, the less it's going to be worth. Think of it like a vintage baseball card. The mint condition ones are worth more because they've survived the test of time without getting trashed. Same goes for coins. Now, let me tell you a little story about my own personal experience with finding rare coins. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my grandpa's old collection of pennies. The man had jars of coins just lying around everywhere. One day, while I was rummaging through one of the jars, I came across a penny from 1955. It was a little dirty, but it looked like it had never been touched. I thought, could this be a rare one? Turns out, it wasn't the super rare double die variety that's worth big bucks, but it was still a cool find. I remember feeling this tiny bit of excitement, thinking that maybe, just maybe, I'd stumbled upon a hidden treasure. It didn't make me a millionaire, but that moment taught me the thrill of the hunt. And that's what's so fun about coin collecting. It's about the journey, the hunt, and sometimes, the unexpected windfalls. So, if you're sitting there wondering whether you could be the next person to find a coin worth millions, I've got news for you. It's possible. You never know when you'll stumble upon a gem like the 1973 no mint mark penny. All right, let's wrap this up. Now that you know about the 1973 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and how it could be worth a cool $3.5 million, it's time to get to work. Check your change jar, look through your old coins, and start hunting. You could be sitting on a hidden fortune without even realizing it. If you find a 1973 no mint mark penny, don't just take my word for it. Get it appraised by a professional. It could be your ticket to the big leagues. Coin collecting isn't just about collecting. It's about finding value where others might overlook it. That's why I always say, coins are like little pieces of history, and sometimes they hold more value than we think. Before I go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more coin tips, tricks, and stories. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow coin collectors. I've got plenty more videos lined up, and you won't want to miss out on more ways to make money from your change. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, the next treasure you find might just be sitting at the bottom of your coin jar. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for some spare change, and you find a penny. You almost ignore it, but something tells you to take a closer look. Turns out, it's a 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, and guess what? That tiny piece of copper could be worth a whopping $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, stick with me because today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of rare pennies, why this particular one is worth a fortune, and how you might just have one sitting in a jar somewhere. Plus, I'll share a story about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin, and trust me, you don't want to make the same mistake. Let's start with the basics. The 1991 Lincoln penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but for some reason, a small number of them were minted without the P mark. Now, most people don't think twice about a missing mint mark. It's just a tiny letter, right? Wrong. That tiny detail makes a huge difference in the world of coin collecting. First off, rarity. There are only a few known examples of the 1991 no mint mark penny in top condition. That means collectors are willing to pay big bucks to get their hands on one. Second, condition matters. If you happen to find one of these pennies in pristine, uncirculated condition, meaning it looks as fresh as the day it left the mint, you could be sitting on a small fortune. The highest graded 1991 no mint mark penny ever sold fetched $1 million at auction. Can you imagine paying $1 million for a penny? Wild. Now, before you run to your piggy bank, let me tell you what to check. No mint mark under the year 1991 strong, sharp details, no heavy wear or corrosion bright, original luster, if possible, and if you think you have one, don't clean it. Collectors want coins in their natural state. Cleaning a rare coin is like taking a magic marker to a Mona Lisa. It ruins the value. All right, story time. A few years ago, I was sorting through some old change, and I spotted a weird-looking penny. It had a strong strike, but something about it just looked off. I was about to toss it into a Coinstar machine when a friend stopped me and said, "Hey, you might want to check that first." Turns out, it was a valuable off-center error coin from the 80s. Not quite $1 million find, but still worth a couple $100. That moment taught me a lesson. Always check your coins before spending them, because you never know when a simple penny could change your life. Check your change every single time. The 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is proof that even the most ordinary coins can be hiding incredible value. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be looking at $1 million payday. And hey, even if you don't strike it rich today, who knows? The next time you empty your pockets, you might just hit the jackpot. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth serious money. And let me know in the comments, what's the most valuable coin you've ever found? All right, folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? I mean, really looked at it? Because if you're like most people, you toss those pennies aside like they're worthless. But what if I told you one of those little copper coins could be worth over $1 million? That's right. There is a 1976 D. Lincoln penny floating around out there worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. And you might just have one sitting in a jar on your kitchen counter right now. Now, before you start flipping over your couch cushions looking for pennies, stick with me. We're going to break down why this specific penny is so valuable, how you can spot one, and, of course, I'll share a little story about how I almost missed out on a rare coin myself. Trust me, this one's going to be good. So, let's get right into it. Why in the world would a 1976 D penny be worth over $1 million? Well, like most valuable coins, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and errors. First, let's talk about what makes this penny special. The 1976 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, as you can tell by the little D mint mark just below the date. Now, normally, these pennies aren't rare at all. In fact, they made hundreds of millions of them. But every now and then, a minting mistake occurs that turns an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. In this case, the $1 million penny is a rare error coin. Some of these 1976 D pennies were mistakenly struck on a 95% silver planchet instead of the normal copper zinc one. Why? Well, blame it on the chaos of the US Mint during that time. There were all sorts of changes happening with coin metals, and somehow, a few silver blanks from previous minting years got mixed in. Now, let me put this into perspective. If your 1976 D penny was struck on silver instead of copper, you're sitting on a potential gold mine. These are what collectors call wrong planchet errors, and they are incredibly valuable. All right, so how do you know if you've got the golden, or in this case, silvery, ticket? A regular 1976 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. But a silver planchet error will weigh closer to 2.5 grams. If you've got a precise scale, this is the easiest way to check. Drop a regular penny on a hard surface, then drop your suspicious one. If it rings with a higher pitch, you might have something special. Silver is not magnetic, so if your penny sticks to a magnet, sorry to say, it's not the $1 million variety. If your penny is showing signs of being a silver error, take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was rummaging through an old jar of coins in my grandfather's garage. He had been collecting loose change for years, never really paying attention to what he had. So, being the coin nerd that I am, I started sifting through them. And would you believe it? I found a 1943 steel penny in near-perfect condition. Now, it wasn't worth $1 million, but it was still worth a pretty penny, pun intended. But here's the kicker. My grandpa had almost thrown the whole jar away. Can you imagine? That's the thing about coins. You never know what's hiding in plain sight. So if you've got some old jars of change lying around, you might want to take a closer look. All right, so let's do a quick recap. The 1976 D. Lincoln penny could be worth over $1 million if it was mistakenly struck on a silver planchet. The best way to check is by weighing it, listening to the sound it makes, and having it appraised by a professional. Go dig through your couch cushions, check those old jars, and take a second look at that pocket change. You never know, you might just have $1 million coin sitting in your hand right now. And if you love learning about valuable coins and how to spot them, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories to help you uncover hidden treasures in your pocket change. All right, folks, imagine this. You're digging through your couch cushions looking for some spare change, and bam, you find a penny. But not just any penny, a 2006 D. Lincoln penny. You think nothing of it, toss it in a jar, and go about your day. But what if I told you that little penny could be worth a whopping $1.2 million? Yep, you heard me right. That tiny copper coin might just be your golden ticket to early retirement. Now, before you start flipping your couch upside down or raiding your car's cup holder, stick with me. In this video, we're diving deep into why this penny is so valuable, what makes it special, and how you can spot one. Plus, I've got a wild personal story about a time I almost let a rare coin slip through my fingers. You don't want to miss this. So, what makes a simple little penny worth more than a mansion? Well, it all comes down to rare errors, minting quirks, and the ever-fickle world of coin collecting. The 2006 D. Lincoln penny that's making waves is no ordinary coin. It has a very specific error that makes collectors go absolutely nuts over it. Now, let's break it down. First, the D mint mark means this penny was minted in Denver. No surprise there. But here's where things get interesting. This rare penny was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual zinc-coated one. The U.S. Mint transitioned from bronze to zinc in 1982, so a 2006 penny accidentally struck on a bronze planchet is a major mistake, one that collectors are willing to shell out big bucks for. How rare is it? So far, only a handful have been found, and one of them fetched a jaw-dropping $1.2 million at auction. That's right, a single cent turned into a millionaire maker. That's more than my car, my house, and probably my neighbor's house combined. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was at a flea market browsing through a guy's old coin collection. You know those folks who sell everything from antique clocks to weird ceramic cat statues? Well, this guy had a jar of pennies, and I spotted a 1982 D. Lincoln penny that looked a little off. I hesitated, figured it was just my imagination, and walked away. Later that night, curiosity got the best of me, so I looked it up. Turns out, there was a rare 1982 D. small date penny worth thousands. I kicked myself for days. Never again. Since then, I always double-check my change. And guess what? That could be you with this 2006 D penny. So, how do you know if you've got one of these golden ticket pennies? Check the weight. A normal 2006 D penny should weigh 2.5 grams, but the rare bronze error weighs about 3.1 grams. If your penny is heavier, you might be onto something big. Look at the color. The bronze planchet gives off a more reddish tone compared to the usual zinc pennies, which look more dull and grayish over time. Get a magnet. Zinc pennies won't stick to a magnet, but neither will this rare bronze one. If you're unsure, a quick magnet test can help rule out some fakes. Professional grading. If you think you've got one, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify its authenticity and help determine its market value. Imagine casually walking into a pawn shop, handing them a penny, and walking out with enough cash to buy a brand new sports car. That could be you if you check your change carefully. All right, folks, that's the story of the 2006 D. Lincoln penny that turned a simple piece of pocket change into a life-changing fortune. If you're like me, you're probably already digging through your couch cushions, your car, and every coin jar in sight. And honestly, you should be. Because stories like this prove that hidden treasures are out there. You just have to know what to look for. So, do me a favor, if you learned something new today, hit that like button. And if you don't want to miss out on more coin collecting tips, rare coin finds, and strategies to turn spare change into serious cash, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You never know, the next video might just help you discover another million-dollar coin. Alright folks, let me ask you a question. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground and thought, hey, this could be worth $1 million? No? Well, today, I'm about to change the way you look at pennies forever. Because hidden in your pocket change, in that old jar of coins sitting on your dresser, could be a 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. That's right, one single penny could buy you a mansion, a luxury car, and still leave you enough for a lifetime supply of coffee. So before you go tossing those pennies aside like they're worthless, you might want to stick around because we're diving deep into what makes this coin so special, how to identify one, and of course, how you can turn a tiny 1-cent coin into a life-changing payday. Now, let me take you back to a moment when I almost missed out on a major coin find. Picture this. I'm at a garage sale, just casually sifting through a box of old coins. The lady running the sale tells me, "Oh, those are just a bunch of pennies. You can take the whole lot for $5. $5. So I grabbed them, thinking, worst case scenario, I'd roll them up and take them to the bank. But as I started going through them later that night, I realized one of them was different. And that's when it hit me, sometimes, the smallest things hold the biggest surprises. That's exactly what happened with the 1987 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Most 1987 pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each carrying a little letter indicating where they came from. But a tiny batch, so rare that it's practically mythical, was released without a mint mark. And thanks to a series of minting errors and special conditions, a few of these pennies have skyrocketed in value. So how do you know if you have one of these golden tickets in your collection? First, check the year. It must say 1987. Next, look just below the date. If there's no letter P, D, or S, congratulations, you might just have something special. But hold up, because we're not done yet. Condition plays a huge role in value. If your penny looks like it's been through a war, scratched, corroded, or generally beat up, it's probably not going to fetch the big bucks. But if it's in pristine condition, meaning it still has its original shine and sharp details, you're looking at a serious payday. The highest recorded auction for a flawless 1987 no-mint mark penny? A whopping $1.3 million. That's one very lucky person who turned a penny into a fortune. Talk about an upgrade. Why is this coin worth so much? Well, it comes down to rarity, demand, and a bit of mystery. Since no one knows exactly how many of these pennies exist, collectors go crazy over them. And let's be honest, the idea of finding a $1 million penny in your pocket change is just too good to ignore. Now, let's talk about strategy. Because let's face it, finding rare coins isn't just about luck. It's about knowing where to look. Estate sales, garage sales, even your grandma's old coin jar. These are gold mines for hidden treasures. And if you really want to up your game, start getting into the habit of checking your change every time you make a purchase. You never know when you might stumble upon the jackpot. So here's the $1 million question. Are you going to start checking your pennies from now on? Because that little coin you've been ignoring all these years could be the key to financial freedom. And if you do find one, don't forget who told you about it. Now, before you rush off to dig through your change, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and unbelievable coin stories coming your way, and you don't want to miss out. Trust me, the next time I tell you about a rare coin, it might just be sitting in your pocket, waiting to change your life. Alright, picture this. You're digging through an old piggy bank, maybe one you haven't touched since your childhood. You're feeling nostalgic, reminiscing about the days when a handful of pennies could buy you some candy. But what if I told you that one of those little copper coins could actually make you a millionaire? That's right. Today, we're talking about the 1985 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a staggering $1.4 million. Yep, you heard that right. A single penny, 1 cent, worth more than a luxury sports car, a house, or even a yacht. So, grab your jars of pennies, because by the end of this video, you might just be a whole lot richer. The story behind the 1985 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. So, what makes this particular penny so special? Why is it worth more than some people's life savings? Let's take a quick trip back to 1985. The U.S. Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies like usual, with coins being produced in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's where things get interesting. Some of the pennies from the Philadelphia Mint were struck without a mint mark and had a major error that makes them incredibly rare and valuable. The rare 1985 no-mint mark penny has a misalignment issue, creating a unique doubling effect on the coin's design. This type of error, known as a double die, makes it highly desirable among collectors. On top of that, certain pennies were struck with extremely sharp details and a near-perfect finish, making them even rarer. And as we all know, when something is rare, collectors are willing to pay big bucks for it. Now, before you start dumping your couch cushions and raiding every coin jar in sight, let's talk about how to spot one of these valuable pennies. The Philadelphia Mint didn't add a P mint mark to pennies in 1985, so if yours doesn't have a mint mark, you might be in luck. Check Lincoln's face, the lettering, and especially the words, "In God We Trust." If you see any doubling effect, you could be holding a small fortune. High-grade coins that have never been in circulation are the most valuable. If your penny looks almost brand new with sharp details, you might be onto something big. Now, let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold, or should I say copper. A few years ago, I was visiting my grandfather's house, and he had this old coffee can filled with pennies. He used to say, "Son, these pennies might be worth something one day." I laughed it off, thinking, "Yeah, sure, Grandpa. Maybe if I save them for 1,000 years." But one day, curiosity got the best of me, and I started digging through the pile. I found an old 1985 penny without a mint mark, and I was convinced I had found the $1 million jackpot. I practically did a backflip, called my friends, and even started daydreaming about all the things I'd buy. It wasn't the rare one. Turns out, my penny had been through the ringer and wasn't even close to being in mint condition. But the experience taught me something valuable. There are treasures hiding in plain sight, and you just have to know what to look for. Let's talk numbers. While the rarest 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny has sold for $1.4 million, that doesn't mean every single one is worth that much. Regular worn-out pennies from 1985 are still worth just 1 cent. Sorry to break it to you. If your penny is uncirculated and has sharp details, it could fetch anywhere from $50 to $10,000 at auction. If your penny has the famous doubling error and is in pristine condition, that's where the big money is, upwards of $1.40 million. So, let's say you find one of these rare beauties. Where do you cash in? Places like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers specialize in rare coins. Websites like eBay or Great Collections can help you connect with collectors. If you want a professional opinion, take your coin to a reputable dealer. Before selling, always get your coin authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC to ensure you get the best price possible. All right, folks, now you know why the 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny is such a big deal. It's crazy to think that something as tiny as a penny could be worth over $1 million. So what are you waiting for? Start checking your change, empty out those old piggy banks, and go through every penny you can find. Who knows? You might just be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on another jackpot opportunity. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin, and let's keep this treasure hunt going. All right, folks, gather around because today we are talking about a tiny little coin that could turn your entire life around. Imagine digging through your change jar and pulling out a 1978 D Lincoln penny, only to find out it's worth a staggering $1.5 million. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, buckle up because we're diving deep into what makes this rare penny so valuable, how you can spot one, and of course, the hilarious story of how I almost lost my chance at a fortune because of a peanut butter sandwich. Yes, you heard that right. Stay with me, and by the end of this video, you might just start seeing pennies in a whole new light. Let's start with the basics. The 1978 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, marked by that little D below the date. Now, normally, pennies from this year aren't anything special. You could find them in your couch cushions, under your car seat, or stuck to a wad of gum on the sidewalk. But here's where it gets exciting. Some of these pennies were struck with rare errors or on the wrong planchet, making them worth a fortune today. One of the key reasons this penny is so valuable is a striking error where some were mistakenly made with a 95% copper planchet instead of the standard zinc-coated planchet introduced in the early 80s. These rare variations are what drive collectors absolutely wild. And when you've got a collector willing to pay millions, well, suddenly, that 1 cent coin is looking a whole lot shinier. Now, how do you spot one? First, check the weight. A regular 1978 D penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. But the rare, valuable ones? They weigh 3.1 grams because of their copper content. So grab a scale if you've got one lying around. If your penny is heavier, you might just be sitting on a gold mine, or in this case, a copper mine. Second, take a close look at the color and luster. The older copper planchets tend to have a richer, more vibrant color compared to their zinc counterparts. And if you spot any odd doubling in the lettering or the date, you could be looking at an ultra-rare double die variety, which sends the value through the roof. Now, let me tell you a quick story about how I almost threw away a rare penny without realizing it. I was at my grandma's house, and she, being the kind soul she is, always sends me home with bags of random stuff, cookies, old newspapers, and, of course, a handful of pennies from her change drawer. I didn't think much of it until, one day, I was making a peanut butter sandwich, and one of those pennies fell into the peanut butter jar. My first instinct, trash it. But then, something made me take a second look. Turns out, that penny had a heavier feel, and after some inspection, it was an ultra-rare find. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't the $1.5 million jackpot, but it taught me a valuable lesson. Always check your change before tossing it out. Alright, so let's talk numbers. The highest recorded sale for a 1978 D. Lincoln penny with these rare characteristics? A whopping $1.5 million at auction. And with collectors always on the hunt for the next big thing, who knows? The value could go even higher in the future. So, the next time you come across a 1978 D. Lincoln penny, don't just toss it in your piggy bank. Give it a good inspection because you never know, you might just be holding a $1 million treasure in your hands. And if you do find one, don't forget to get it authenticated by a professional grader to confirm its value. Now, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll keep bringing you the best coin hunting tips, strategies, and, of course, my occasional peanut butter mishaps. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever found a penny on the ground and thought, not even worth picking up? Well, what if I told you that a single 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth a staggering $1.6 million? Yeah, you heard that right. One little penny, 1 cent. And it could make you a millionaire. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions, let's break this down. What makes this penny so valuable? How can you tell if you have one? And, most importantly, where can you cash in if you do? Buckle up because I'm about to take you on a wild ride through the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and life-changing finds. And hey, stick around because I've got a personal story about the time I almost threw away a coin that could have been worth a fortune. You won't want to miss it.so. What makes this particular penny worth more than a mansion? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and a little thing called human error. Most pennies from 1977 were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. If it has a D or an S under the date, it's not the one we're looking for. But if there's no mint mark at all, you just might be in luck. Why? Because these pennies were supposed to have a mint mark, and somehow, some of them slipped through the cracks without one. A minting mistake like this, combined with the right condition, can make a coin ridiculously valuable. Alright, time to play detective. Grab your old pennies and look for these signs. No D. No S. Just the date 1977 and Abraham Lincoln's wise face staring at you. If it looks like it was just minted yesterday, you might have a winner. Coins in mint state condition, meaning they have little to no where, fetch the highest prices. Some 1977 pennies have doubling effects, misprints, or other oddities that make them even more valuable. Don't just toss it in your piggy bank. Get it authenticated by a professional grading service. They'll determine its true value and verify if you're sitting on a gold mine. Okay, so why such a crazy price tag? Supply and demand, my friends. Coin collectors go absolutely nuts for rare errors and high-grade pennies. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become. And right now, only a handful of 1977 no-mint mark pennies in top condition are known to exist. That means competition is fierce, and collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay top dollar. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a potentially valuable coin. Years ago, I was cleaning out an old desk drawer, and I found a dusty little coin pouch. Inside, a handful of old pennies. I barely looked at them, thinking, just some loose change, and tossed them into a donation jar. Fast forward a few weeks, I started getting into coin collecting, and I learned about the rare 1977 no-mint mark penny. I rushed back to see if I could retrieve my coins, but it was too late. Gone. To this day, I wonder if I unknowingly gave away a fortune. Lesson learned. Folks, always check your change before you get rid of it. If you do find a rare 1977 penny, don't run to the nearest vending machine. Instead, check these options. Heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, and great collections specialize in rare coins and attract serious collectors. Find a reputable dealer who can give you an honest assessment and a fair price. And remember, the better the condition, the higher the value. So handle that penny like it's a newborn baby. Your pocket change might be worth more than you think. That little penny you almost tossed aside could be worth life-changing money. The key is knowing what to look for and getting your coins properly appraised. If you love learning about hidden treasures in your pocket, make sure to hit that subscribe button I've got plenty more tips on valuable coins, collecting strategies, and how to turn your spare change into a fortune. And hey, before you go, check your pockets. You never know, you might be carrying around $1 million penny right now. Let me know in the comments if you find anything interesting. All right, folks, I have to ask, have you ever looked at a plain old penny and thought, just another cent? Well, today, I'm about to change your mind forever. Because somewhere out there, hiding in pocket change, old coffee cans, and forgotten piggy banks, is a 2014 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny worth a jaw-dropping $1.70 million. Yeah, you heard that right. 1 cent $1,700,000. Enough to buy a mansion, a fleet of classic cars, or approximately 170 million packs of gum. If that's your thing. So, before you go tossing your pennies into the tip jar at the gas station, stick around. I'm going to tell you exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how to check if you have one, and most importantly, how you can turn your change into real money. Now, at first glance, the 2014 Lincoln penny looks just like every other penny you've ever seen. It's got good OL Abe on the front, the Union shield on the back, and it's made of copper-plated zinc. But here's where it gets interesting. This particular penny is missing something critical. No mint mark. No little D for Denver. No P for Philadelphia. Nada. Just a blank space where a mint mark should be. That alone wouldn't make it rare. But what does? A serious minting mistake that makes collectors lose their minds. Imagine you're working at a coin mint. It's been a long day, your coffee's gone cold, and suddenly you press the wrong button. Instead of stamping these pennies correctly, a batch goes out missing their mint mark. And not just that, a few of them were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet. Instead of the standard zinc-copper combo, some of these pennies were struck on pure copper planchets left over from an older batch. And since pure copper is heavier and has a different look, collectors immediately went on the hunt. Only a handful of these mistakes have ever been found, and one of them sold for a mind-blowing $1.7 million at auction. All right, so you're probably staring at every penny you've ever saved, right? Good. Here's how to check if you struck gold, or copper in this case. The 2014 penny should have a little letter under the year. If it's missing, that's step 1. Normal pennies from this year weigh 2.5 grams. If yours is closer to 3.1 grams, it could be the rare copper planchet error. Drop it on a hard surface. If it has a higher, ringing tone instead of a dull clink, that's another clue it could be copper. Copper pennies have a slightly darker, more reddish hue than the standard 2014 penny. If your penny checks all these boxes, my friend, you might just be sitting on a fortune. But don't go spending it at the vending machine just yet. You'll need a coin expert to verify it first. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost gave away a valuable coin without realizing it. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my desk and found a handful of old pennies. I thought, just some change, and tossed them into the Coinstar machine. Fast forward a week, and I see an article about a rare penny from the same year I just dumped into that machine. I nearly had a heart attack. I ran back to the store, hoping no one had cashed them in yet. Spoiler alert, they were long gone. To this day, I have nightmares about some lucky guy finding my fortune in a Coinstar reject tray. Moral of the story? Check your change before you make the same mistake. All right, folks, now that you know the truth about this $1 million penny, what are you waiting for? Go check your couch cushions, your car cup holders, and every old piggy bank you've ever owned. You never know. You might be holding on to a $1.7 million ticket to financial freedom. And hey, if you love learning about valuable coins and how to find them, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more tips and tricks coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Hit that like button, drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin, and share this with a friend. Who knows? Maybe they've got a fortune sitting in their pocket right now.